30 days, no hotel room, no shower at home, no bed that does not roll down the highway at 70 miles an hour. That is what long-haul trucking actually looks like for thousands of drivers right now, and most people watching this video have no idea what that really involves. It is not a road trip, it is not glamorous. It is a small steel box that becomes a bedroom, a kitchen, a living room, and sometimes a hiding place from the outside world, all at once. So what actually happens to a person after living inside a truck cab for an entire month straight? Like this video, and subscribe now for more of these kinds of stories, because what this actually does to the body and mind surprises almost everyone who has never lived it. And here is a real question for the comments. Could you personally handle 30 days inside a truck cab with no house, no apartment, and no fixed address to go home to? Say your honest answer below. That is exactly what we are breaking down today. Most people picture a sleeper cab as basically a tiny camper, and in some ways that comparison holds up. There is a mattress, a small storage area, sometimes a mini fridge or a microwave. But the similarities end fast. A sleeper cab is roughly the size of a walk-in closet. Drivers eat, sleep, work, and relax in a space smaller than most bathrooms, for weeks at a time, while the outside temperature, parking situation, and noise level change every single night. If you have ever spent even one night in a car overnight because of a road trip or a breakdown, drop a comment with how that actually felt after just 12 hours. Now imagine that same feeling stretched across an entire month. The first thing that breaks down for most drivers is not physical, it is the sense of time itself. Days blur together when every stop looks similar, every truck stop has the same layout, and the only real markers of time are delivery deadlines and fuel receipts. Many drivers describe losing track of what day of the week it actually is, somewhere around the second week, simply because the routine never changes enough to separate a Tuesday from a Saturday. Sleep is the next casualty. Federal hours of service rules dictate exactly when a driver can legally be on the road and when a driver must rest. But legal rest time and actual quality sleep are two very different things. Idling engines in nearby trucks, temperature swings inside the cab, harsh parking lot lighting, and constant traffic noise all interfere with real sleep, even when a driver is technically off duty for the required hours. Quick pause. If this kind of real look at long-haul trucking life interests you, hit subscribe now so you do not miss the next one, because the part about isolation gets even more intense. Physical health takes a hit too, and this part rarely gets discussed openly. Sitting for 10 to 11 hours a day, combined with limited access to fresh food and irregular sleep, creates a pattern that doctors who specialize in transportation health flag consistently. Back pain, joint stiffness, and circulation problems are common complaints among long-haul drivers, largely because the body simply is not designed to sit in one position for that many consecutive hours, day after day, for weeks in a row. Food access becomes its own daily puzzle. Many truck stops offer fast food or gas station snacks as the fastest option, and building a routine around actual balanced meals takes real effort, planning, and sometimes a small cooler or portable stove kept in the cab specifically for this reason. Some experienced drivers solve this by meal prepping before a long haul, packing coolers with pre-made meals that only need reheating, specifically to avoid relying on convenience food for 30 straight days. But the part that surprises people most is not physical at all. It is the psychological weight of extended isolation. 30 days without a real conversation beyond a dispatcher call or a brief exchange at a loading dock changes people. Some drivers describe a strange kind of loneliness that has nothing to do with actually being alone, since the cab is rarely silent, but everything to do with missing normal human connection. Video calls home help, but they cannot fully replace being physically present for a birthday, a school event, or simply sitting across from someone at dinner. Many drivers describe this as the actual hardest part of the job, far harder than the physical demands of driving itself. Hygiene is another daily challenge that rarely makes it into public conversation. Many truck stops offer paid showers, but availability, wait times, and cleanliness vary wildly from one location to the next. Drivers often build their entire route around which stops have reliable shower access, treating something as basic as a shower like a scheduling decision rather than an assumption. Laundry works the same way. A driver cannot simply toss clothes in a machine at home between shifts, so many carry a limited rotation of clothing and plan laundry stops around truck stop facilities, sometimes going several days longer than planned if a machine is broken or a stop gets skipped due to weather or traffic delays. Weather adds another layer of unpredictability to daily life inside the cab. A driver parked in extreme heat has to rely on auxiliary power units or engine idling just to keep the sleeper area livable overnight, while extreme cold creates the opposite problem, forcing drivers to balance staying warm against fuel costs and idling regulations that limit how long an engine can run unattended in certain states. Relationships back home absorb a lot of this strain as well. Partners and children adjust to a version of family life built around video calls, missed events, and a homecoming that has to be planned around delivery schedules rather than personal milestones. Drivers with families often describe developing a completely separate routine for reconnecting after a long haul, treating the first day home almost like a transition period rather than a normal day off. Financial planning becomes its own skill set too. Fuel costs, tolls, meals, and truck stop expenses add up quickly, and experienced drivers track spending closely, since a poorly planned route can quietly eat into a paycheck through unnecessary detours or repeated fast food purchases instead of packed meals. So why do people keep doing this month after month, sometimes for years? Pay is a major factor, since long-haul routes typically pay significantly more than regional routes with regular home time. But almost every experienced driver interviewed on this topic mentions something else entirely, a sense of freedom that comes from being genuinely self-reliant on the open road. There is also a strange kind of pride that develops over time. Not everyone can live out of a small metal box for a month, manage their own schedule, solve unexpected problems alone, and still deliver a load on time. And drivers who last in this lifestyle tend to describe that resilience as something they carry with them, even off the road. It is demanding, it is isolating, and for a large portion of the trucking industry, it remains one of the last truly independent jobs left in modern logistics. Living in a semi-truck for 30 days is not about toughness for its own sake. It is about adapting to a lifestyle most people could never fully picture until they actually try it. Every skipped shower, every missed dinner at home, every night parked under harsh lot lighting, it all adds up to a version of work-life balance that simply does not exist in most other careers. If you are an actual driver, or you have lived out of a vehicle for any real stretch of time, what is the hardest part nobody warns you about before you start? Drop it in the comments, and if you have never spent more than a night away from home, do you think you could actually handle a full month living exactly like this? Subscribe if you want more of the real stories behind the people who keep the country moving.